everyone. My name is Patima, and I'm here to talk about something that's a fundamental part of me and my life, but also something I can't prove exists, unfortunately. I live with what I'm pretty sure is FASD, but I don't have official diagnosis, so that means no paperwork, no diagnosis, and no confirmation of alcohol use by my birth mother. My family and I have tried several times to get a diagnosis from including top experts, but since I don't have written proof that my birth mother drank while pregnant, she reported drug use, but probably didn't think alcohol was worth mentioning. But without that proof specifically, it's next to impossible to get a diagnosis for FASD. And the understanding and support that comes with it. For years, I could not get special education services I needed because I didn't have a diagnosis. When I was in school, when I was young, school was a minefield. Rules and expectations that didn't make sense, I couldn't seem to meet them, no matter how hard I tried. It was hard to keep friends at school because they didn't seem to understand why I was the way I am, and I didn't either. There were several times when I just wanted to die. Like many people with FASD, I have good days and I have less good days. In school, I could remember facts and know how to do something one day, but the next, I couldn't. And the teachers didn't believe me that I could not remember what I knew the day before. And I didn't understand it either. This kind of experience led to a lot of pain, confusion, and acting out for years. Finally, my psychiatrist at a major university, Children's Hospital in San Francisco Bay Area, who had worked with me since I was 5, wrote an official letter saying I had all the hallmark characteristics of ARND. Alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder, and my parents were able to use that letter to help me get some support when I started middle school. He had gone from asking my parents when I was 8 years old why they would even want to know if I had FASD, because it's a terrible label, to educating himself about it over the years so he could better support me. But he told me and my family that he couldn't officially he wasn't qualified to formally diagnose me. When I was 16, my parents told me that the reason behind what I'd known as my brain condition was my birth mother had taken drugs and alcohol when she was pregnant with me. They described some typical characteristics of someone with FASD, and that sounded just like me. The first thing I asked was, why would my birth mother do this to me? I grew up knowing she loved me enough to leave me in the place where I would be cared for and safe. Why would she do something that gave me this condition? My parents told me that they didn't believe she would intentionally harm me. She didn't know how drugs, especially alcohol, might affect me. I asked my parents why they hadn't told me before, because it would have helped me to know this. They said, no. All these years, I had thought I was stupid or bad. They said they had wondered about FASD ever since I was a child. But many doctors told them there was no written record and that my birth mother never drank alcohol, and the doctors didn't see any physical facial characteristics or of prenatal alcohol exposure. Like my psychiatrist, many told my parents to, quote, avoid that label. After my parents told me about FASD, the last thing I said was, that explains a lot, so I'm not a bad person. The current system often leaves people like me trying to figure out this key piece of our identity, even in groups for neurodivergent kids that I tried to join when I was younger. Other kids would ask, what do you have? And unlike other kids with ADHD or autism, I could say, I don't know. And some kids told me that meant I wasn't neurodivergent. It also meant I was not eligible for services or support that would have made a real difference in my life. It's better now, partially because the world makes more sense to me, but also because I am better at masking my condition and managing it. I feel good about how I am doing as a young adult. I completed a unique program at my local college to earn a certificate in early childhood education. And I work part-time as a preschool teacher of the preschool I attended as a child, and volunteer during high school. And I'm often the staff member that they assign to support a child with autism or a child who has sensory or anxiety issues, because I seem to have a talent for working with them, mainly because I understand what they might be experiencing and what might help them feel better. But still, working a job is tough because I struggle with time management and remembering multi-step instructions. My colleagues are supportive, but sometimes they forget, and self-advocating for myself can be hard. And there are things they don't know, like the amount of energy I devote myself to my job means that many days after my 5-hour shift, I am exhausted, and I need a nap that lasts into the evening. I'm not here to say a diagnosis is some kind of magic key that would fix everything. That would be nice. But fixing shouldn't be the goal. People with FASD face difficult things, stigma, misunderstanding, and a system that aren't designed for us, but we don't need fixing. I ask the people here today to imagine navigating life without something clear and concrete that helps explain why you are so different from most people. You might look like other people, but not like them. You don't know why. There's a whole different level of difficulty for people like me without a diagnosis. And on top of that, there are challenges we face, and there's not knowing why we have to face the challenges we have. So what is the goal of a diagnosis? What would that achieve? First, I could finally stop blaming myself. Because my disability is not apparent, people see me as not trying hard enough. When I forget things or struggle to keep up, they consider me unmotivated. When I get overwhelmed, distracted, or stuck in the same cycle of mistakes, they urge me to just try harder or push through it. Second, I need certain kinds of supports specific to people with FASD. Maybe I could qualify for disability services or accommodations to help me work with my particular brain instead of against it. I have medical support needs, such as joint, eye, and teeth issues that are not typical for someone my age, but apparently are not uncommon for people with FASD. Third, right now, I'm stuck between two worlds. Too many struggles to be perceived as so-called normal, but not enough to be considered official. A diagnosis would give me something solid to point to, something tangible that explains why I am the way I am. Even with the stigma around FASD, I still wish I had the diagnosis, because knowing the truth and having the support that comes with it is always better than being left in the dark, wondering. So what can you do? First, if you know someone struggling like me, believe them. Even if they don't have paperwork or the system won't recognize them, we're here and we need support. Second, whatever field you're in, please push for change. Push for a system that recognizes non-apparent disabilities, especially a whole body disability like FASD, without impossible hoops to jump through for a person to get needed recognition and support. Third, see us for who we are. Whole people who are not lazy, difficult, or broken. The truth is that FASD is complex, and so are the people living with it. We're doing our best in a world that was not designed for us, and we could actually learn something from us. Lastly, we need a system that does not allow someone like me to fall through the cracks. Thank you for listening.